A lot was made last weekend on the 100-day milestone of the Trump administration. Well, he's not the only one. State of Play time now with Steve Tanzer of DelawareLiberal.net. Steve, thanks for being here.
Thank you.
Our topic, Governor John Carney's 100th day. Governor Carney's folks put out a list of accomplishments, sort of a checklist. Among those items on the checklist, building a sustainable financial plan, standing up for Delawareans, transitioning Delaware's economy, and addressing prison security. Is that a list of successes over Carney's first 100 days to you?
No, and I don't think, in fairness, that that's really what they released was a list of accomplishments. They released what I think they called a list of initiatives and priorities.
Okay.
And among those accomplishments was that he's held, quote unquote, more than 12 community meetings on the budget reset, hosted by more than 24 legislators, that's how he put it, to tell him what we should do about the budget. And he has actually introduced a budget which really has not found much favor, especially with the Democrats down in Dover, and I think it's going to be subject to some change. It's an equal 50-50 mix of some revenue increases and budget cuts, including what would appear to be some pretty draconian cuts to education.
Where it's been strongly opposed
exactly.
in schools.
He's appointed, reading through the press release, an independent review, a working group, a task force, and a working council, among other things. So I read it and I'm like, I've said this before, he doesn't appear to have been ready to have been governor when he came in, and he's still trying to find his legs as to what his priorities are. I mean, obviously the prison issue was one that had been around for a long time, but certainly it came to a head with the tragedy down at the Vaughn Correctional Center. So I found it to be very, very thin gruel and not a list of accomplishments at all. But in fairness, like I said, it's not what they even presented it as.
So he has really less than 2 months now before the budget's got to get done, and he has a chance to get a lot of bills or any bills to his desk. Does he get his way on the budget and what he's presented, or is it going to be drastically different 2 months from now?
Yeah, I think it's going to be different. I think that there will have to be more focus on the revenue side. I know that, for example, there's a bill on the agenda the day that we're recording this that would increase taxes on LLCs, which is a pet peeve of mine, since LLCs are basically like, you can't sue us, we're an LLC.
Right.
That's been pretty de rigueur in Delaware. One of the accomplishments he cited really was not one of his, which was the pass of the sheet reform bill. For those of you who get those gift cards, from the supermarket, from the department stores and stuff, Delaware has been claiming the unused portion of that as unclaimed property because of the fact that all of these companies are registered here, incorporated in Delaware, until the other states figured out that we were doing this. And so this is basically, we had to do this because we're going to lose about 99 and 44/100% of what we were actually claiming there. So that, and the other accomplishment he cited, which was not an accomplishment, were several school capital projects, which have actually been previously funded. So yeah, I mean, he doesn't have many legislative priorities. I mean, and he's not really getting involved in some of the ones that are out there. For example, death penalty repeal is on the House committee agenda this week.
Right.
He said,
to reinstate the death penalty.
Reinstate it. And he's got, well, I kind of don't support it, but, if it was for cops, I might be able to. I mean, absent without leadership, in my opinion.
So if that's the de facto head of the Democratic Party, let's look at the Republicans then, who elected a new leader, Michael Harrington, replacing Charlie Copeland. He's from Kent County, a former legislator a long time ago and now in real estate. Can he kind of pick up the mantle as it was left by Charlie Copeland?
I think Charlie Copeland did a good job, especially when faced with the challenges that he had. In Mike Harrington, you have a guy who has not been a legislator since 1982. He lost re-election that year and has been out of the political game, except I believe he ran a PAC at one point. So this is 35 years since he last was even involved in the Delaware General Assembly. I've been out of the General Assembly for 8 years. If I was asked to run a campaign today, I'd be a dinosaur.
Right.
I couldn't do it. So I have to think that this is essentially a case of nobody else wanting the job.
All right, well, I'll leave it there. Lots to talk about before the end of June. Steve Tanzer, DelawareLiberal.net. Thanks so much for your time.